Getting rent-to-rent leads is one thing, but turning them into actual property deals is another. And that's where most of you get stuck. Landlords block you, agents just tell you no, and before you know it, you think, listen, Simon, you're a cool guy, all right? I like you, but this stuff doesn't work. But don't worry, because on this video, I'm going to share with you how to turn a cold lead into a smoking hot cash flowing property deal. I'm going to show you what to say, what not to say, the entire process so you know where you're going, and of course how to close that elusive rent-to-rent deal. Why should you listen to me? It has taken me over 6 years to work this stuff out, and now it's secured over 1,000 deals for me and my mentees, and I can't believe more of you don't do what I'm going to show you in this video. So just stay with me. I've got you covered. In this video, I'm going to reveal everything that you need to do so that you can get a deal over the next few weeks. So it all starts with a lead, okay? As with any transaction, you need to find a potential customer. And in rent-to-rent, our potential customer, of course, is a landlord, all right? It's going to be a property lead, a landlord, or potentially an agent. Now, here's the thing with leads. There are 2 different types of leads, and a lot of people don't know this, or at least if they do know this, they don't take into account. The first lead, of course, is a cold lead, okay? A cold lead means that they don't know who you are. They don't trust you. No offense, mate, but they don't like you. So you need to really take your time with this lead, all right? It's like, I know, a romantic interest. You don't ask a cold lead to marry you on the first day. So it's important to warm that lead up and nurture it. Sounds a bit creepy. But you know what I mean, man? You can't be going in like hot if they don't even know you yet. I got some of you, you set up your business last week, all right? You're brand new. You've not even got a website, and you'll just go in, all right, mate, can I guarantee your rent? 5 years, take on all the management and the maintenance, free research. Mate, get out of here. I don't even know you yet. So when it's a cold lead, you just need to breathe. Now, on the other hand, when the lead is coming in hot, my favorite type of leads, this is beautiful because they already know you. Maybe they've seen some of your marketing material. Maybe they have heard about you from a friend. They've checked out your reviews and done some due deal. This means it's a lot easier to convert that lead. All right. So what I would say is if you've got a cold lead, the best next step is for you to jump on a call. Okay. So when it's a cold lead, you just want to jump on a call. And the most important thing with this call is you're trying to do a few things. You're trying to build rapport. All right. You're trying to seed or hook value. Really, really important. You've just got to grab their attention really quickly and give them value. Let me give you an example. What is value? So you need to say something along the lines of that you're looking for property as soon as possible, or that you're looking for properties and you sometimes can pay above market rent, or you're looking for a 3-year agreement. So what you've done is you've just seeded a value, and then you need to go for, of course, the next step, which is a viewing. Now, the viewing is literally one of the most important metrics of rent-to-rent. And the reason for this is simple, all right? The viewing is our equivalent of the shop floor. It's like running a clothes store. And if nobody comes in your clothes store, unless you're online, guess what? Nobody's buying. So with rent-to-rent, you have to do viewings. The viewing is the shop floor. And if you don't get enough property viewings, I can guarantee you, you will never get a deal. And a lot of you, I'll speak to you and you've been trying to do rent-to-rent for 6 months and you've done 2 viewings. Well, guess what? There's no wonder why you've not got a deal yet. I actually believe it takes 10.5 viewings to get 1 deal. That's what I help my mentees do. So it's all about getting as many viewings as possible. So when the lead is cold, okay, I'm going to grab this little bluey. I recommend going to the call first. You want to, arrow is a bit crazy. There we go. You want to go to the call first, have a conversation, build rapport, and then go to the viewing. Now, if the lead is hot and maybe they've come in one of your inbound marketing channels that I recommend setting up, then sometimes you can go from hot lead just straight to viewing. Nice and easy. Now, property viewings, rent-to-rent viewings, they're a little bit different to your traditional, I'm looking to rent a property or buy a property viewing. And there is a framework that you really, really need to follow. And honestly, the amount of times I see people just like you mess up at this stage is unbelievable. So here's the thing. On a viewing, your job is to do a few different things. The first thing is you want to build rapport. Really important. Because if you don't build rapport, then they're not going to want to do business with you. And later on this viewing, you're going to be asking a question, which for some people is going to be a brand new concept. So think of it like this. If you like somebody and they ask you for a favor, you're way more likely to do it than if you don't like them. So make sure that you're building rapport at this point. The second step for this actual property viewing that's really, really important is you're then needing to take really, really close attention to the property. So a common mistake I see is people are viewing the property, which is all well and good. You're viewing the property, but you're still focused so much on rapport, you're not noticing that there's a leak up in the bedroom. You know what I mean? You sign a deal, massive leak, you didn't notice it, you didn't say anything. It just starts off on the wrong foot. So now you've built rapport, really engage in the property. And your aim here is to be asking questions such as, how long have you owned the property? How long has it been empty? What sort of tenants do you typically have? How is the parking outside? And top tip here, if you ask the questions in a powerful frame, then you can actually get the landlord or agent to start selling you the property. That's a really powerful power shift because a lot of rent-to-renters take a weak frame. And a weak frame means that you're so desperate to get the deal that they see through it. But if you think about it logically, all the landlord wants to do is secure themselves a tenant. So make them sell you the property. What are the local schools like? What are the local amenities? How old's the boiler? You can actually grill them a little bit. And by the way, whoever asks the questions controls the conversation. Ding! Like that, don't you? Cool. Okay, so the third thing, really, really key, and I need to stop putting exclamation marks on every single thing I'm writing. Okay, no problem. Is you need to now find out, really, really key, you need to find out their motivation. No exclamation mark. Now, here it is. I used to call this pain points. But here's the thing. Not every landlord is going to be in pain. Let me use an example. Sometimes you take yourself down to Boots, okay? You buy some painkillers in advance of the pain. You ain't in pain, but you're still buying the painkillers, right? Now, the key thing here is you don't want to assume any negative connotations. So what you really don't want to do is put any words in their mouth. I hear some people saying, oh, do you know what? It must be terrible managing the property. And then I'm retired. I love maintenance. I love managing it. So you just want to ask them what their motivations are. Because even though they might not have pain, I promise you they will have motivations. Key motivations you want to look out for here, let's grab this one, is they could be money motivated, all right? They could be time motivated. They're going to be the key to motivations, all right? A lot of motivations might be the situation. They might be moving to Australia in 3 weeks, all right? Another one is the property might be a little bit tired, and as a result, they are struggling to find tenants. So we want to try and find out their motivation at this point because that is going to help us present our offer. And then what we do at this point, guess what it is? Hope you're getting value from the video. If you're looking to get more rent-to-rent deals, okay, generate more money from the deals that you've got, or perhaps systemize your portfolio to free up your time so you're not giving yourself another day job, go ahead, hit the link below, book a call with me or my team, and let's see if we can help you on your way. Anyway, back to the video. We are now going to move to our big, fat, juicy offer. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Most people go to a viewing and they say, well, I'm going to just think about it. You know, I'm going to crunch the figures, you know, whatever it is. But you actually don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Because if you think about most traditional families, they wouldn't place an offer on the viewing. So this gives you an instant edge, an instant urgency edge, because the landlord or the agent want to get the let as quickly as possible. So when you offer on the viewing, it kind of disrupts situation. And by doing that, you are way more likely to get certainty. But a key thing here is if you offer in person, you're way less likely to get ghosted because they're likely to share their objection. Sometimes more than one. So here's the thing. If you go away and then put an offer on email, they're likely to say nothing for 5 days and say, sorry, we went for a family at best. Whereas if I'm up in your grill and I say, hey, James, love the property. I'd be delighted to offer you, you know, the rent and take it on for 5 years. If they're not happy, I'm going to figure it out through their body language, through their response. Common objections could be, okay, that they, you know, they're not actually understanding the concept. So they're not brought in on the idea of rent to rent. Really, really common. All right, really common. Another one is they need to speak to their partner. A lot of the times they will need to run it by their partner. Another objection we will see is they've already got more viewings. So they want to keep their options open. But if you find that out there and then, a line that I really, really love is I literally say, look, you know, what would it take? You know, I've got clients, they're ready to go. What would it take for us to come to an agreement in principle right now, Amy? And Amy might say, well, I'll tell you what, if you offer me an extra £100 a month, it's all yours and I'll cancel the other viewings. Which if you've done your ideal deal and you know your location, all right, which I talk about in the book, by the way, then that will be super, super easy for you to be able to assess what you should be offering. In fact, my rent-to-rent deal calculator, I actually, before any viewing, and I encourage all my mentees to do this, to know what the maximum offer is in advance so that you've got the flexibility to get that offer sorted. Now, on occasion, despite all your best efforts, this property or this landlord may just not work for you. So every now and then, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Every now and then, it's going to be a no deal for whatever reason, right? And that's okay. But if you follow everything I've just described, you are way more likely to get to that elusive yes. And I am going to put an exclamation mark on that because we are just a couple of steps away from grabbing this deal. So when you get a yes, all right, this is the key thing. All I'm looking for is a yes on the rent, okay? And I'm going to do a clock for the term. The money and the term. I don't want to talk about a preparation period, rent-free period. I don't want to talk about deposits. I don't want to talk about start dates, who's doing what to the property. All I want to do is agree on the rent and the term. Okay? Big mistake. People just do too much too soon and the landlord or the agent just can't deal. So you want to just get the rent and the term agreed. Then what you want to do, and when I realized this, my close rate just went through the absolute roof. And that was what you need to do at this point, really, really key, is you actually need to arrange a follow-up meeting or call. And on that call, you actually go through the terms. So this is when we talk about the start date, you know, the rent-free period, the deposit, who's doing what works to the property, if there's any additional specially negotiated clauses that we need to take into account. This is also when we're going to talk about more of the legalities, because if you do that up on this call, of course, you know, you're breaking the whole cycle, and that's how you will lose a deal in quick succession. So I recommend doing this on a phone call. I recommend doing this in person. And what you want to do on this call is just break down all of the heads of terms of the final piece in the puzzle. And that is, it's time to do, and I'm going to do this in red because this is a big, big one. It's time to now do the contract. Okay. Now, here is where I would say most rent-to-rent deals where you've been to the viewing, this is where a lot of them fall out of bed. The amount of times I have mentees or whatever, and they get to, you know, they get to sort of this part, but something between here and getting the keys goes wrong. So this is where you absolutely need to make sure you've got a bulletproof contract that you are confident, that you understand, that covers you, the landlord, and your guests and or tenants. Okay, absolutely essential. You want to make sure that you send this via DocuSign. And a top tip that I've learned over the years is get the landlord to sign first. Okay, so on most sign-in softwares, you can change the order of who signs first. Get the landlord to sign first whilst you do your final due diligence. Because if for whatever reason you decide that you want to withdraw, you have not signed. So don't sign and then be left in limbo. Let them sign first. And if you've done all that, guys, you are going to be pleased to know you have just bagged your next rent-to-rent deal.